where you see the reflection of the sky, which is where the rain came from. So there's a cool spiritual reminder lesson in there in the water surface, and you can see where the water's pooling up. So we did this video now just because we're right after a thunderstorm and we're filling all these ponds, and you can really see how this land is receiving the blessing of the water, and we're doing our best to honor that blessing by storing it. All right, so it's April 11th and we're in the middle of having some rain, but we're right before a dry season. And here in southwestern Oregon and much of the Pacific Northwest, we live in what I call a winter rainforest, summer desert rainfall pattern. So we get about 6 months of rain and then about 6 months of dry period. We can have some rain during the dry, but generally it's as dry here as it gets. So the name of the game is now, while water's abundant, to fill all our water storage. And the way I think about it is, if you have a bank account, you want to save money for a rainy day. If you're just constantly spending all the money in your bank account, you won't have it when you need it. And when we really need the water is later in the season when it's hot and dry. So not only is this helpful for agriculture and all the plants we want to grow and the animals we want to grow, it's helpful for fire resilience because we live in an area where wildfire is prevalent. So here on this farm we have 10 ponds. Some of them are quite small, as we'll see in a moment. But like this pond here is about 12 feet deep, and this probably holds about 500,000 gallons of water. And so I'm filling it from a gravity line that's from a creek. We have a legal water right to a year-round stream here. But we get shut off from that. So the key is to store the water when it's abundant. And these systems, this actually naturally fills during thunderstorms and winter rains. From that side up, we've contoured our forestry access road to be a water catchment. And then as it overflows, it goes out the spillway here. And as you can see, the spillway goes around to another pond. You can see the reflection of the water in front of the barn there. And so that pond in particular, I built there to have a large amount of water in case there was ever a wildfire, because water puts out fire. So we could be pumping from that to put out a fire, or at least wet down around our seed barn. And then if you'll follow me here, we'll walk out on the dam of the pond, which is also a grazing paddock for sheep, which also has the benefit of keeping the grass low, because tall, dry grass later in the season is a big fire hazard, where if it's all grazed down, it's much more fire safe. So here, we can actually pull water out. There's a stake down there with a valve, and we can flood irrigate through here. But just from the rains that we've had and the overflow, this swale is full of water, and then you can see that lower one from that other pond that overflowed is full of water. And Brock Dolman, who has a really great approach about water, and the Water Institute down at the Occidental Center for the Arts and Ecology, has a great mantra for water. And it's, what we want to be doing is slow it, spread it, soak it. In modern industrial civilization, we put it in gutters and concrete and away. It's a pipe shed, it's not a watershed. Where here you can see we're fanning it out, we've slowed the water down, and then it will slowly soak in. And you can see these trees are designed, these pines and oaks and cottonwoods, to naturally have the root systems go out wide and use that biological sponge of water. So in this area, we're looking at about 4 acres of water catchment with some trees. So we're growing grass, we're keeping an area green and hydrated, which once again is saving us from the potential threat of a wildfire, because out there we have a road, a BLM road, where people might be riding motorbikes or quads or some fire ignition point. So we want a safety buffer, and green grass doesn't burn. So this is one way that we're using, there's a permaculture principle that you want to store water as high on the land for as long as you can as possible. And that's what we're doing here in April, because we're in our wet time. Like the saying goes, April showers bring May flowers. But we're augmenting that by using some plumbing and engineering and surveying to fan that water out and really let it soak into the land. So I always love seeing this, where you see the reflection of the sky, which is where the rain came from. So there's a cool spiritual reminder lesson in there, in the water surface, and you can see where the water's pooling up. So we did this video now just because we're right after a thunderstorm and we're filling all these ponds, and you can really see how this land is receiving the blessing of the water, and we're doing our best to honor that blessing by storing it so that we'll have it later. So check it out more. There's lots of resources about Keyline water design. There's that great video that Andrew Millison did about our farm years ago, and we just keep continuing the evolution of these systems over time as we learn how to do this. And hopefully you can do that too. And if you want help, there's folks like myself who do consulting, or folks like Andrew Millison or Zach Weiss, or all of us will be up at the Global Earth Repair Summit soon in Port Townsend talking about how do you do this on your land. And imagine if we as human beings could design our civilization like this, where every roof went into rain catchment, every road was part of a water catchment sink. Then drought would just be something that we were embracing like a yin-yang symbol, as like, well, we stored water for drought periods. And that's one thing, the modern capitalist system just doesn't think ahead that well. So check out those resources, and may everything be green and lush where you are.